wanted to mention when we're talking about technology is the cultural impact it can have on organisations. And I'll give you an example. I was with a client, and they were a huge business, 1,000 staff. They ran about 600 events, and they still, this is 2 years ago, and they were still using paper booking forms. And they were still doing paper invoices. So as a process person, I was brought in to look at that process, and I said, get everything online. Now, there's actually some organisations in the room today who are receiving paper booking forms for events. Okay, I know who you are because you gave me the information on the feedback form, but I won't see it. But I would say to you, as a consultant, having worked in different organisations, there is no need now to accept paper booking forms. And I've had it from organisations who have said, but we deal with doctors. Doesn't matter. Or we deal with farmers. It doesn't matter. If there's one thing you can do, if you're still taking paper booking forms, is just move away from it. But the point is you've got to have an understanding of what impacts that makes. Now, at the client I was at with 1,000 staff, I didn't realise this when I suggested that they should go to paperless booking forms. Someone's job within that organisation was to deal with the booking forms and create invoices. Now, they were in the accounts department, so nothing to do with the events department. But what I was bringing in helped the events department and helps the events, but I basically made someone unemployed from doing that. Now, that's quite a big cultural impact you can have when you're looking at technology. Now, that can be a good thing or a bad thing, but there's just an understanding that when you engage technology, it will have an impact that's much wider than your relationship with your event. There's another event we organised when I was with a client, and it was a dinner for 1,000 people. And they were doing, can you name your delegates? Can you send us an email? And then they moved to a kind of Excel spreadsheet. And they were taking all this information off, putting on an Excel spreadsheet. I calculated it. It was probably, I think it was close to 30 days throughout the year on managing this dinner that had 1,000 people. So what we did, we spent 1,500 quid on a microsite. And we went back to everyone who was attending and said, when you book a table, put your delegates' names on. If they change, go back onto the microsite and change their names. There was a lot of resistance to that internally. And I know some of you will have this because I see it when I do consultancy. And it comes back to that when you say, but our delegates won't want that. Or my manager won't want me to do that. But the single biggest difference that made was we put the element of control really in the hands of the people who wanted the control. Now, if you've ever organised a dinner for 10 people, it's normally secretary and it's his or her boss who's organising, who's got all the invites. It's so important that you get this right. And what we were doing as an organiser is we were taking this on board ourselves to make sure we got this right. So when we introduced this microsite, we said it's really important to you. Your table is much more important to you as an individual thing as it is to us, so you manage it. If you spell the name wrong and we print out the card, it's your fault. But you also know that if you do it right, it's going to be done right. And we had not one single negative comment that came back when we took this and we put it in the hands of the clients. The person who was managing that went from 30 days a year to about 2 days a year. So the other point in understanding is that you can get someone doing something that's hugely administrative and you can move them to somewhere they're actually able to add value. And that's what technology can help you do if you understand it, and that's how it impacts the event that you're running.